Pop question, what is your favorite food? If you are 1 in 8 Americans, you love pizza. Donuts are also pretty popular, with more than 10 billion consumed in the US every year. And according to one poll, chicken and waffles, eaten separately, rank within the top 5 favorite foods. Whatever food you so choose, there is a reason that food is your favorite, and chances are it has nothing to do because there's vitamins and minerals in it. Even if it's a healthier food, dare I say Brussels sprouts, the reason one generally labels food as a favorite food is not first related to the nutritional makeup. What is it related to then? Pleasure. Duh. The reason we like our favorite foods is because they taste good, remind us of happy moments, satisfy a craving, or equal a sense of reward or treat in our minds. This all makes so much sense. I talk a lot about food's role as fuel and its main job of nourishing our bodies, but food is also a wonderful gift and pleasure in our lives, meant to be enjoyed, experienced, in a far cry from worry and stress. Not only do our favorite foods bring pleasure to our eating experience, but also provide us a sense of being well-fed, calm, and collected. Without trying to get too philosophical here, consider this fact of the matter, a reason perhaps that dieting or particular habit changes with food does not always work for you. When you hear the words diet or eating healthier or changing your diet or think about cleaning up your nutrition, what thoughts or images come to your mind? Cardboard tasting rice cakes? Deprivation? Social isolation from alcohol or pizza nights? Inner conflict over what to eat on the menu or making daily decisions to avoid the cookies on display and candy stash in the drawer at work, or to succumb to your old popcorn and wine habit? Pressures, deadlines, giving up your favorite foods, or forcing yourself to eat foods you know that are good for you and that are tolerable, but not your favorite. Whatever thoughts come to mind, all of these thoughts are the opposite of pleasure. And you know what happens when we are chronically worrying, overthinking, planning, and construing? Stress. And you know what happens when we are stressed? Our bodies become physically stressed. And more often than not, that means one thing. Our cortisol levels go into fight or flight mode. Through the roof. When our cortisol levels go through the roof, our bodies end up working against us and our goals rather than for us. Chances are, if you're forcing yourself to go on a diet or forcing yourself to eat foods that are not pleasurable to your palate, you are disconnected from your food. And when you are disconnected from an enjoyable eating experience, then that self-inflicted stress from eating and diets actually raises stress levels or cortisol levels. In other words, your body does not like ongoing stress. And as heightened cortisol is a byproduct of stress, it keeps you from experiencing success and pleasure with any dietary changes or new habits. In one study from the University of Texas, they found that pleasure from your food may actually positively affect your metabolism even. Participants with high cholesterol levels were placed on a low-fat diet. However, they were allowed to splurge every other day on a milkshake and a ham and cheese sandwich. According to conventional wisdom, they should have experienced a significant rise in blood cholesterol, but there was none. The only elevation they showed was that of enjoyment. Despite the high-fat content of the splurged foods, their cholesterol-raising effect was somehow sidestepped by the chemistry of pleasure. It isn't hard to imagine that the splurges were the only relaxed and celebrated moments in an otherwise bland and stressful diet. And that decrease in fight or flight chemistry could have been by itself enough to lower cholesterol or other poor health markers. The overarching conclusion is that nutritional value of a food is not merely given in the nutrients it contains, but it is dependent upon the synergy of factors that helps us absorb those nutrients. Remove pleasure, and the nutritional value of our food plummets. Add vitamin P, or pleasure, and your meal is metabolically optimized. So if you're the kind of person who eats foods that are good for you even though you don't like them, or if you think you have a lousy diet and make up for it by eating a strange tasting vitamin fortified protein bar, or you've simply banished pleasure because you don't have enough time to cook, then you aren't doing yourself any nutritional favors. You're slamming shut the door on a key metabolic pathway. Just some food for thought. The bottom line, finding pleasure from food is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a great thing for your metabolism and your cortisol as a whole. And the reason diets often fail you? You were stressed and not finding pleasure in the foods you were trying to nourish your body with in the first place. On a side note, does this mean that we should eat all the pizza, ice cream, or Dunkin' Donuts we want? Or go on a free-for-all diet program that tells you to eat whatever you want as long as you restrict overall calories to 1,200 calories or less? Heck no. In fact, packaged, processed, and sugary foods equally raise cortisol levels as they stress the body system. What it does mean is, eating is not a crime. On your mission to nourish your body well, explore, experiment, and find foods you actually like and that bring you pleasure to your eating experiences.